Welcome, everybody. Welcome into episode 2. This is the Model Mindset. My name is John. This is Brian. We wanted to start off today's episode by thanking everybody and showing everybody much gratitude for the feedback we got this past week with our inaugural pilot episode. There was a ton of incredible feedback. The messages, the texts that we got, the people who shared it, it was actually really overwhelming. It was really cool. It was really important to us that you guys enjoyed it. It was something that I think Brian and I were a little nervous to do. We were a little apprehensive to put it out there. We didn't want it to obviously come back as seen as a failure. And it was the exact opposite. The response was overwhelming. So for me personally, like I said last week, this isn't something that is kind of in the realm of my comfort level. I mean, BG, this whole thing was very, we talk about fear-based things a lot, right? And this had a very big, fear-based thing to it. So kind of working out of our comfort levels maybe a little bit and kind of working past that fear barrier last week. You guys really helped us out with feeling more comfortable doing this, being really excited to do episode 2 today. We talked about it all week, how, we were just now we're past the nervousness and we're into the excitement level and the excitement portion of this whole thing. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. We're looking forward to getting this thing rolling now, getting into some deep topics. So BG, I know you wanted to say thank you too here. So go right ahead, man.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was overwhelming just for all the responses that we received. Honestly, I didn't expect it either. It was kind of us just trying to get over our fear of recording a podcast. And once we did that, we shared, I think the biggest part of it is we were authentic with what we're sharing and what we're really trying to do. We're really just trying to be a positive light in a world right now that is kind of negative. So anything that we can do to be positive right now, I think a lot of people saw that. And so with the support that we received, John and I both said, hey, you know what? Let's talk about appreciation. And I think right now, and I just touched on it, with the world being so negative, I think we're underestimating the power of appreciation. And with the outpouring of love that was shown to us, I think it's definitely something that we should talk about.
No doubt, man.
What do you think, John?
And when we were talking about appreciation throughout the week of, with the feedback and all that, I think we realized there's levels to it. We realized there's incredible impact. I think it carried us through our week. You know what I mean? Like we were on a high all week. And that's because, we were feeling the appreciation, and it impacted our days. It impacted our outlook. It made us work harder to try to get things right for episode 2 this week and moving forward. So absolutely, this is, appreciation. It has so many different levels, right? And I know, like when we were talking about it in this past week, man, it was a lot about the interaction with people, and it was a lot about how maybe we've fallen back from that. Because with COVID and stuff, everything became such a virtual world. And it's so funny because we were talking about this last night, dude. And so today I had the girls' parent-teacher conferences. Okay. So Danny's in North Carolina right now. She'll be back tomorrow. And so I was on daddy duty getting these conferences done. Right. And so I had to go to Mill's school at 2:30 and then be to Mallory's school, I thought, at 3:00. And so Mill's has always been in person and Mallory's have always been Zoom. But when I signed up on Monday on the little sign out sheet when I was picking Mallory up, I don't know if I didn't look at it closely enough, probably. But I put my name on for the time slot I wanted, right? And then I was talking to Danny, I think Tuesday night, and I was just like, hey, is Mallory's virtual? Like, is it Zoom or am I actually going to the school? And she's like, well, I haven't gotten a Zoom link, so I'm assuming that you're going to the school. So I'm rushing. I go down to Millie's school. I do her thing. I run over to Mallory's school, and the parking lot's like pretty empty. And so I'm like, all right, well, maybe there's not a lot of meetings right now. So I walk around the building. I get buzzed in, and it's the school security guard there. And he's like, what are you here for? And I'm like, oh, I got a parent-teacher conference at 3:00. He goes, oh, you're the one. And I was like, yeah, right.
No
So
way.
I go, nobody was in person. I was legitimately the only parent
Wow.
who
You're the
showed
only
up for
one?
in person. Everything else was Zoom.
Wow.
And so I felt like
Yeah.
such an idiot walking down the hallway, like, all right, I walk in, the teacher's looking at me
That's
like,
great.
hi. And I'm like, sorry, I didn't realize it was virtual, right? But like, it was this perfect timing because we talked about how everything is
Yeah.
virtual now.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was a feeling of
Yeah.
uncomfortable because I was the only one in person. And it's like, but if you did that 2 years
Yeah.
ago, nobody would have thought anything, or 3 years ago, whatever it is, you know? So
Oh yeah.
like the world is so virtual now. And with the world being so
Yeah.
virtual, I'm sorry, go ahead, man.
Well, I was going to say, did you find that with you actually being there, did you find that the teacher actually appreciated it
She
more?
might have, I think, but it was almost like she was taken aback by it, right? So she was like, "Oh, come on in," like
Oh,
she was
she was
surprised
surprised.
because
Yeah.
why would we do anything in person, right? You know what I mean? But like at the end of
Right.
it, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it was nice for her to have an interaction with a parent that wasn't on a camera screen, you know what I mean, or a computer screen. So, um,
Right.
but yeah, it was just so funny because it made me think like nobody does this stuff anymore. Like we avoid person to person stuff,
Yeah.
but there's such a negative backlash to that. You know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
the interpersonal relationships that we have built in the past, like we've gone backwards on that now. So how do you show people like simple emotions? You know what I mean? How do you talk to them the way
Yeah.
you used to? So it was really funny that happened today. But the
Yeah.
the appreciation side of things is drastically affected by the Zoom world, I think, man.
Oh, well, without a doubt. I mean, so I'm in corporate America, so I've been working at home for the past, man, since
That's
2018.
wild.
And so we used to get together as a team in Nashville every other quarter, or I'd say once a quarter, which was really cool because I got to meet the rest of the team. We got to get together as a team, understand how each other are
Yeah.
out of work, and it was really cool, man. And honestly, what that did is it made me appreciate who they are as a person, and so then I was more likely to help them with
Right.
work. But the one thing that I just really want to touch on is like the difference between recognition and
Right. Yeah.
appreciation, because I think there's a huge, and this is where I think appreciation kind of gets lost, is because we tend to think, oh, I'm showing appreciation for, whether it be at work because of a project that you've done, so you're getting recognized, or you're getting some sort of accolade. With your child, they got an A on a paper. You score a goal or something. You see it in
Yeah.
sports
Yeah.
all the time. They get a ton of recognition, but it's always for something specific. It's always there's a reason. While with appreciation, it's you're looking for it. You're looking to show someone appreciation for no
Right.
reason at all. And a good example of this, man, is, I'm sure you can relate to this. I'm sure everybody can relate to this who's in a relationship, is where you just want to show your significant other that you appreciate them. And so maybe you buy flowers. Maybe you leave a note. I had 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, Val left me the sweetest note on my desk in my office. Totally unexpected. And when I came and sat down to work, I saw her note. And it was just incredibly supportive of the hard work that I've been putting in the past couple months. She can see how motivated I am. And she told me how much she loves me. And like that filled my heart with so much love that it like, honestly, I'll say it, I don't give a shit. Like
Yeah,
it
dude.
did tear me
No
up.
doubt.
It teared me up because it felt
Yeah.
so much love. And I think sometimes we maybe get complacent, and I think the pandemic
Hmm.
could be part of that. Even when we are in long relationships, we tend to just think it's implied. Like, they know I love them. I don't need
Yeah.
to show it or tell them. But it's like, speaking as a man, and I'm sure you can relate too. It feels
Yeah,
damn
man.
good when someone goes out of the way to
Yeah,
show
absolutely.
appreciation.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
and I think the fact that we can be surprised by it now, and if you think back to the last time you were appreciated, like it's almost hard, right? It's almost hard to be like, when was the last time I was appreciated?
yeah,
And it's again not because your significant others may not be, or your family members, may not be appreciating you, but maybe they think they're showing it. But they're recognizing you for something, or people at work are recognizing you, like you
right,
said, and there's a big difference, and
Yeah.
Listen, and with my thought too, though, and with appreciation, it could be a much broader thing than interpersonal. It could be something that's
Mm.
where you can appreciate, moments or time or places or things. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because everything. I mean, just think about what's going on now in Florida, right? Like people are
Yeah.
losing everything down there. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And
Good
like,
point. That's a good
so
point.
this morning, like I saw a bunch of stuff on it last night, and my grandparents are down there, and luckily they got out of there in time. And but like, look,
That's
my
good.
wife has some schools down there and people she works with down there that are just awesome people. Um, and it's like, man, like I was thinking about them a lot last night and watching all these horrible videos of people's houses being destroyed, and I was like, man, when I woke up this morning, I was like, man, like I'm so appreciative of what I have to wake up to this morning, because you know what? People
Right.
don't have that right now. Their whole world got flipped
Mm.
upside down, and it's going to be that way for months
Yeah.
and maybe even a year and your
Yeah.
years. So like, I think you can really appreciate the basics in your life too. I think you can appreciate the time
100%.
in your life. You can appreciate there's so much more than just talking with people or appreciating people. It's a broader thing than that,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I actually didn't really think about it that way. I thought it more around like
Yeah,
people, but you thought that was a really good way to put that. I like how being appreciative of what you have, like a
yeah,
roof over your head, you got running
right,
water, you got food. I mean, those little things that we take for granted, and Florida is a phenomenal
yeah,
example of that. So I
yeah,
appreciate you
man.
putting that perspective because
It's interesting,
that's
and
awesome.
also like, and when we talked about doing this subject today, and the way we were feeling all week, right? Another thing I thought of too is people need to appreciate things that maybe they take for granted too, though. Yes, like your house and the food on the table and stuff like that, right? But like another thing I thought of was every time I bring the girls or Danny brings the girls to a doctor's appointment, right? And those appointments are done and you're in and out, right? And it's like, and parents can relate to this, or people who watch kids or whatever and do these things. If you bring your kid to the doctor, it's a part of your day that may be disrupting your work life or other things, right? So man, you're scrambling to get them there. The appointment's over. You're scrambling to get them to school or wherever they got to go, and then you're late for work, right? And it's just a ripple effect. And oftentimes, I feel like it may put people in a negative mood because they're rushing around and they're stressed, right? Like it's an appointment.
Without a
It's a
doubt,
thing that,
without a doubt,
right?
I'm
Like,
guilty
and
of
me
that.
too. And you get guilty of it too,
Yeah,
where you're stressed about it,
yeah.
right? But if you slow that moment down, and when your kids or whoever is walking out of that appointment and you go, man, I just got really good feedback from that doctor. My kid's blood work is great. They can
Right.
hear everything. They can see everything. They're growing. They're strong. Their intellectual skills are strengthening as they're getting older. And it's like, man, like I every single time, and I'm not just saying it, every single time in my head, I'm like, God, thank you for them being healthy right now and their cognitive
Yeah,
skills growing and that, because man, I can think of like times where I've seen pictures online of like these two
yeah,
siblings and one of them standing over, a toilet and they're sick and their sibling has their arm on their back. And it's just
yeah,
like the strength that must take for everybody in that environment, and it makes me, I
yeah,
appreciate that stuff with my kids because I think of those things of people who aren't fortunate and can't appreciate that because they're
yeah.
struggling with stuff like that too. So appreciate the simple things.
It's
No,
yeah.
please
I don't mean to
do.
cut you off, but you just brought me back to something. Honestly, I just completely forgot. I don't say completely forgot about, but when Theo was born, a lot of people don't know this, but Theo was in the NICU for about 6 days. And so when we were in the NICU, and Theo
Mhm.
is our firstborn, so we had no idea what was going on. So as soon as he was in the NICU, um, for a couple hours, we didn't think anything of it. We thought it was normal, but then, he had to stay there for a couple days, and the child next to him had like heart surgery. I mean, the kid was just maybe a
Yeah.
month old or something, and it was just he had a feeding tube. It was just incredibly, incredibly sad. And I just remember I'm in when he was taken out of the NICU, he was finally all right. He had just had low sugar levels, and when his sugar levels were all right, when they were regulated, we took him out, and I remember his name. His name was Owen. He was still there, and I remember when we were bringing him Theo to his first checkup. Guess who was right at the front door being checked in? It was fucking Owen.
My God.
It was Owen and the mom, and she recognized me. I was like, oh my God, how's he doing? And she's like, oh, he's doing good. He's doing good. And like, you're talking about appreciating health, man. I mean, that right there, like it shook me as a new father, and just seeing the strength of the mother. And, you could tell that she was extremely strong for her son, but she was just appreciative that he was alive too. I mean, like you know what I mean? I mean, and that was tough. And I give that mom a lot of strength, but I will never forget that kid's name.
Man, that's and when you're saying that too, I'm thinking like, yes, and I'm sure at that moment you were like, man, you were so appreciative of Theo being healthy at that moment, right? And like you were right, but like in my mind too, I'm like, man, like you gotta like appreciate that woman's strength. Like, you know what I mean? Like, holy cow! Like, man. You have to look at her and be like, and almost think to yourself, like, could I do that? You know what I mean? Could I handle something like that? And like, it's so admirable. And people who are going through that kind of stuff, my God, I mean, thinking about it now, I'm like, I wish I could like put myself in that moment just so I can tell her or tell him or whatever, like, you don't know how strong you are, I mean, I admire you for that, because and saying things like that to people, imagine what that could do to someone's day, right?
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. I mean, you're spot on. And that's the other thing too, because I know we're harping on loved ones, which I firmly believe you need to show appreciation to your loved ones. And it could be your parents, could be siblings, your spouse, your kids. You need to make a commitment to show appreciation. Don't have it be a paper. Don't have it be something that they did, laundry, dishes, dinner. Do something just totally out of the blue, like how much you care about them. Make a commitment. But I think the other side of it is we have to recognize people for just being a good human being, and I think we lose sight of that. And if you take it a step further, the thing is about life and about other people. When we just walk by people, we have no idea what their story is. We have no idea what type of day they're having, what type of week, month, or year. And if you just take a second to just maybe pick up on something and pay them a compliment or just show them appreciation, you don't understand how much that could mean something to someone. You could take their, man, like just not having a very good day to you just made their day, and it's almost like we just got to take a step back and just be more considerate of other people, and just kind of be that positive light in a very negative world.
Do you think? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And
now, do you believe in like a domino effect when it comes to that? Like, do you believe that? So you believe that if you were to be, show someone appreciation, or if you were just to have a kind gesture, like I don't mean to keep saying the word appreciation, but obviously it's the subject what we're talking about. Yeah. But even if you're having just a kind gesture, do you think now that would carry into her day, and she would return that favor to somebody else, and hopefully that thing would keep rolling?
Yeah. Well, I'll put it this way. How are you when you receive some sort of appreciation?
You feel great, and you want to make someone else feel great.
And you typically share it though. So you may say, "Hey, Danny, this is what so and so said," and you feel great. And then what you do is you kind of like you have that positive energy. You're feeling that flow, and so then you're more likely to, let's be real, pass it on. Because you're just like, wow, that even if you're feeling negative, and then all of a sudden someone pays you a compliment, appreciates you as a human being, it reminds you like, damn, I am a good person. And then it's like the kick in the ass that you need, the reassurance. And so my personal feeling is the more positive vibes you put out there, the more positive people will be around you. And then, of course, more positive atmosphere. So my personal feeling is, the more positivity you put out in the world, it'll be reciprocated. I totally 100%.
Yeah, man, I do too. I really do. I think that I think that there's something to be said for that specific kind of energy, right? Because if you think about it, if whatever your environment in, you tend to take on that environment, right? So, if your environment being like yourself, your soul of who you are is a positive environment, and listen, everyone's got shit going on, right? Like it ain't always roses, you know what I mean? But if you are generally the type of person who is willing to spread that energy, then you are certainly going to do it in a much broader sense than just the one individual you're interacting with. And I think you have to believe that there's a manifestation to that your energy is boundless. You know what I mean? So I 100% agree with that too, man. I think that's such a real thing. And the more that, we're doing this and the more that, I'm learning all about this is I'm also trying to make that part of who I am now. And it was something as simple as today. No joke. I went to write a text to somebody that was semi-negative, right? I wasn't shitting on anybody, right? But it was an unnecessary thing out that I was going to text. And I stopped and I said to myself, what good am I doing right now? What am I putting out there right now?
Right.
And I deleted it.
Right.
I highlighted the whole thing and deleted it. I was like, you know what? It's not necessary. It's not productive. I'm not going to put it out there. Yeah. Not that I won't ever joke around, and not that I'm changing as a person where I'm going to be bland and all this stuff like that. But like, there's a difference between, having fun and doing that stuff and being negative and dispersing that energy. So like, that's something simple too, that everyone listening, just think about that. Think about something that, could you have removed that energy from your day today, that negative energy from your day that you put out there unknowingly, and could you have flipped the script in a different way and made something more positive? Well, yeah, you could have. I guarantee everybody could have. And a good way to start is finding some way to appreciate somebody, something, and just take those baby steps to remember those things. It's not a cliche. It certainly is a different way to alter your mindset.
And the biggest thing too, John, I mean, because you're hitting on it, is you got to create like a practice, make a commitment to showing appreciation. And now I am without a doubt, like, I will be real with you. I wrote down a goal 3 months ago, and it was to tell my boys I love them every single day, which I am. But then the other one was to give Val flowers every time I get paid. And I did that fucking once. So I am not doing a good job, but I'm being honest, like, if I'm going to show appreciation, I myself have got to do better. And I know, like, I don't know if you feel the same way, but I feel like with this podcast, like, it's a way to hold ourselves accountable as well. Like, if we're saying something, you damn well know that we're going to follow through. So what I did is I'm not going to tell anybody when I get paid, because when I get paid next, I put in my calendar a reminder, and it says buy Val flowers. And every time I get paid, I'm going to have that fucking alarm on there, because I am committed to showing appreciation. And I think that's a simple way to create a practice and a commitment to appreciation, whether it be monthly, weekly, however you want to frame it. I think that is like, it's huge. It's huge, because what will happen, I'm assuming, is she will show appreciation, and not necessarily to me, but to something else, just because she's feeling good, and acknowledge.
And you're hitting on, I think, something important where it may sound planned, but it's not. It's just creating a routine. And it's creating like you said, a practice. 100%. So, Val, enjoy the flowers. Danny, I promise I'll have a firm handshake for you every week on payday. No.
Yes, there you go.
Dude, another thing too, man, and again, it's just so funny how the universe works, right? We're talking about this stuff, and so many things happen today that fit into this conversation. So, like I said, Danny's away right now. She's in North Carolina, and so I've had the girls all week. and we were outside today, and I'm trying to do a little bit of yard work while they're playing and stuff, and they were just at each other for most of the afternoon. And I got back from the conferences, and they were just going at each other, right? Just one of those days. But they've been great all week, so I was much more patient. But it got to the point where I was just like, you know what, all right, enough. Go inside. We're gonna have dinner. But about like 25 minutes before that, I had mentioned that, okay, we're gonna go inside and we're gonna shower before dinner because we have to go to Mill's Ice Cream Social tonight. And in the meantime, they were bickering, blah blah blah. So we go inside. I said, get in there, go to the bathroom and we'll have dinner. Never mentioned the shower. That was about 20, 25 minutes prior. I'm picking up a few of the stuff I'm doing for the yard work, pick up the rake and the trimmer and all that, and I put it in the shed. I walk in the house, and it's kind of quiet. And I walk in the hallway, and the shower's on, and the girls are in the shower. My girls are 6 and 4. They're in the shower. And I stopped for a second, and I text Danny, and I said, your girls, or our girls. And she wrote, what? Thinking probably, Mallory cut Mill's hair off, and, there's shit on the wall. But it was like... but it was like, I stopped and I said, they were having such a hard time for the last like hour and a half. And it was the first time they've had a hard time all week. And I get it. The end of the week, they usually start to lose it a little bit when one of us is gone. But I said, man, I come inside and I told her the story, and they're in the shower. And so I said to them, I walked in the bathroom. I said, girls, I'm really proud of you. You turned it around. You remember what I said. Thank you so much for turning it around and making this a much better night now. You're welcome. You're welcome, Daddy. And it was like, God damn, man. Like it one of those things that it just melted my heart. It made me so happy. I was genuinely like thankful and appreciative for them and what they were doing because they don't know it, but they impacted my night and our night was fantastic after that, man. So, it can come from anywhere. Awesome. It can come from a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old who were just giving you a hell of a time 20 minutes prior.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. What's funny too is, and this is like a story that really resonated with me when I was listening to a speaking engagement the other day. It was at a recognition dinner. And so he had asked all the recipients that were receiving an award. He said, what was the best part about it? So people are talking about the award and the recognition and stuff. And this one gentleman stands up and he goes, honestly, I was really excited when I got this award, but when I went home to share it with my family, the best part about it was when my son said he was proud of me. And he goes, that was the best part. And it just shows you something so small. It doesn't need to be big or anything. And that carries a lot of weight, man. And and the other thing I think we have to really be more aware of is start receiving compliments more graciously. We always, for example, if I say, hey man, you're such a great person, great job for being you, you know what I mean? And you might be like, oh dude, it's nothing, and you put yourself down and it's like, no man, just say thank you. Say thank you. I appreciate it. And that's it. It's like we try to overcomplicate it when we receive a compliment. It's just like, just take it. It's true. Say thank you.
It's
money the waters.
It's true because I think there's like a self-deprecating factor to that now. You know what I mean? Where it's you're aw shucks or you're so bashful about it and you can't make eye contact when they're saying nice things to you, right? And even like this week, man, when we were getting like those messages and stuff, like it was like it was almost like you were taken aback because yes, you were so thankful and you were so filled with joy from the messages you were getting, but like some of them like. And it's funny, like my sister-in-law, she started it off with like, we don't do mushy, but you know what I mean? So it's like, you got to like break that barrier, you know what I mean? But it was just like, you almost, you have to train yourself to be like, no, it's okay to show genuine appreciation to people you may not have in the past, or you don't, or maybe it may be a little uncomfortable, you know what I mean? But I think overall though, dude, like this week for us, yes, it was awesome. It was great, but this whole thing isn't about us. This is about changing the minds of everybody and giving them a little look into what's changing our minds and our mindsets, right? And I think this week there was no better topic than appreciation because it was genuine. It was real. We feel it. We felt it. I know we're going to continue to feel it, but we're also going to definitely work
100%.
on continuing showing it.
Yeah, without a doubt, man. All I got to say is appreciate your loved ones, appreciate other human beings,
No
and
doubt,
appreciate
man.
life.
No doubt. All right, guys, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening in to episode 2. We hope you enjoyed episode 1 enough to hear episode 2 because we're just getting rolling now. We got a lot of guests lined up. What do you got, BG?
5 stars.
We need those
5 stars.
That's right. That 5-star rating for sure. We set up our guest list and pretty much our episode list last night, guys. We are set through year end. So get used to hearing our voices because we have a lot of positive messages coming out for you guys. We hope you enjoy them. You can find me on Instagram at jhunttrey. BG, let them know.
Let's do it. 7, baby.
Message us, guys. You want to talk about something? You want us to talk about something? Our DMs are open. Slide right in. We just won't tell our wives. And we will talk to you guys next Monday. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thank you.